Like you could like work out with this, you know, you could build some muscle with this one. In this video, I want to teach you the power and strength of knowing color temperature and how to mix paint. I'm going to teach you a little bit about warm and cool. I'm going to mix a little paint for you and show you how it works so that every time you mix a color, it's a brand new color. It's this fresh, brand new, intuitive color you came up with on the spot. My name is Milan, and I am the founder of Milan Art Institute. I've been a professional artist since 1996. I'm going to teach you a little bit about color temperature and why our label is so important for you to pay attention to. Now, how does this actually apply? Why do you even care about color temperature other than making pretty colors and seeing that, you know, it moves? How do you get something that is dark, like this eyebrow, or over here, this leaf, to look like it's in front of something that's light? Well, warm and cool, that's how you do it. If you look at this painting, the colors that are in the background are cool colors, and the colors that are more in the foreground are gonna be warmer, so that there's depth and there's movement to the paint, and the things that we want your eye to see as far away move away, and the things that we want your eye to see up close pop forward. The best attributes of oil paint is that it's alive and it looks like it's jumping off the canvas. You have some color that almost looks like it's moving. It's coming towards you, and other colors look like they're moving away, so there's this movement to the oil paint, and that is all because of warm and cool and color temperature. So how does the warm and the cool work? Now, you remember in kindergarten learning that yellow, red, and orange are warm colors, and blue, green, and violet are cool colors. So we're not talking about that. Warm paint is actually the pigment that is chosen for that color, and if it on a molecular level moves towards you, then it's a warm. If it recedes, then it's a cool. And that is how the old masters use it. That's how, you know, traditional oil painters have used color temperature, and how you want to use it. Some paints actually are neutral. They don't move. They're right smack dab in the middle. Titanium white, no matter what brand you use, is a neutral, and that means you can mix it into either warm or cool, and it will have zero influence in terms of color temperature. All it does is lighten the value and make it a tint. We call it intense white because it is super duper loaded, and its tinting strength is huge. That means you don't have to use a lot of it to influence your paint. There's nothing more annoying than having a white paint that barely lightens your paint, and you have to put so much into it before it'll actually do anything, and then you got this big blob of paint on your palette and you can't seem to get it light enough. So it's very, very heavy. Like you could like work out with this, you know, you could build some muscle with this one. It's very heavy because it's really, really loaded with titanium. Ivory black is ever so slightly towards warm. It might as well be neutral, so you can mix the black into cools, and your cool will overly influence the black and make it basically cool. Most of the time you mix white into colors, or if you're using the dark colors, then typically those are transparent and you're mixing a glaze into it, which makes your paint dry faster. So we have found with our experience that if you use a fast drying white and you use something like Galkid or a glazing medium as a medium for the rest of your paint will dry overnight and you won't have these long drying times. So I'm gonna demonstrate this in mixing just a couple colors for you to see how they're moving and interacting. So I've arranged the palette from yellow to red to green to blue to violet, and same on this side. That way, as you mix, your complements are here. So yellow and violet, orange and blue, red and green in the middle, and those are your complements. That's how I always arrange my palette. That way I don't have to memorize or remember how to mix paint. My body just knows how to do it automatically, and I know my yellows are in this region and it goes towards violet as we go down. This is my cool palette over here, and this is my warm palette over here. Half of it is opaque, half of it is transparent on both sides. Then we have a white, and then we have a black. Let's mix a flesh tone. I'm gonna mix a warm first, and I'm just gonna use this cad red medium and maybe a little yellow ochre and ultramarine blue. Mix all that together, throw a little white in there, and we have the start of a flesh tone. Let me put a little more white in there so you can see it. Okay, and now I'm gonna clean my brush so that when I mix the cool version of this, I'm gonna try to match the color. If you want rich color and color that's moving and looking alive, when you oil paint, then you're gonna wanna keep your warms on one side, your cools on another, and try not to mix the two unless you really intend to do it. So let's make similar color. I'm gonna take alizarin crimson and a little bit of this yellow, a little bit of this orange, and some phthalo blue. A little more Prussian blue. And that's pretty close. A little bit of white. Oops, I put too much white. Look at what I did, but that's okay. So you get the idea here, looking at it, and that is really, really obvious. This is definitely popping in front of that. So I think you can see pretty clearly this sort of illustrates the power and strength of knowing color temperature and how to mix paint. I see these art instructions where they're telling you how to mix paint and they're like 20% of this and so much of that, and there's all these charts and graphs and everybody's got their palette and pre-mixed colors, and I mean, you know, have it that calculating. You want to feel as you go. You want to have a gut intuitive reaction as to what color you want to make. Now, how does this actually apply? As you know, things that are lighter in value tend to come forward and things that are darker in value tend to recede. If you look at this blue outline that's on his cheek versus this one that's on the nose and this one that's on the tip of the nose, that is color temperature working for you. This blue is warmer than this blue, and this that's closest to us is warmer than this one. That makes this cheek recede and his nose that's in front of that cheek to pop forward. It makes this part of his nose to look even closer to us still. Another place where this is illustrated is these colors here and these colors here are almost the same color, but I mixed warm color in here and cool colors in there as it goes back towards his ear, because we want this to recede from you and we want his cheek to look like it's forward. This is another area that we want to look like it's forward, and we want his eye to look like it's recessed. So this eyebrow that's darker is painted with a warm dark. There's some ultramarine blue in there mixed in with some Van Dyke brown, is popping in front to give it that volumetric look, like his eyebrow has dimension. Whereas what's underneath it, even though it's a little bit lighter in value, is cooler. It's receding, it's coming underneath it. And over here, this leaf is painted with warms and what's behind it is painted in cool. So we see that dimension. There's something very special about our labeling system that I'm gonna explain right now. Each color paint has a label and it tells you right on the label at just a glance if the color is cool or warm. This color says CT, so that means it's cool, transparent. This yellow, however, it says WO, and that means warm, opaque. So it tells you right off the bat whether you're dealing with a transparent or an opaque, or if you're dealing with a warm or a cool. Some warm paint is really, really warm, and other warm paint is not as warm. And you can get those differentials of depth based on a super warm paint to a less warm paint. If we look at this yellow ochre, there's a dial down here. You have to look really, really close, but there's a dial. And the more towards this side, it's gonna be warm, and the more towards this side, it'll be cool. And neutral is in the middle. So if we look at this warm yellow ochre and we compare it to this yellow, this one, because it's higher on the dial, is warmer than yellow ochre. And if you buy the whole set, then you get all these colors. It's a great complete palette. You shouldn't need any other colors outside of this. You can mix any color under the rainbow with this set. That is really important. And why that is in every section, so you have the warms here, we have almost a red that turns towards magenta and a red that kind of is a true red towards orange. Same with the yellows. You have yellows that are towards orange and the yellows that mix better with the greens. And same with the blues that are more towards greens and a blue that's more towards violet. So that is really, really important. And that's just in the warms. And then we have the same thing replicated over here in the cools. So between the warm and the cool, you have a lot of variety of the primary and tertiary colors. And from that, you can mix anything. So I know because I've tried it, and I feel like I've mixed every color that you can even imagine. In the mastery program, we go really, really in depth on the warm and the cool and color temperature on a really advanced level. So if you are already in the mastery program and you've bought this paint for your program, man, congratulations, you did the right thing. I'm so excited for you, because the warm and cool and color temperature and everything that you're gonna learn is going to come really easy to you, and the labeling system is really, really going to help. So you got fantastic paint. You're going to learn so much. Your paintings are going to be off the charts, outstanding, and I'm so excited to see your skills just go through the roof. So it's going to be really, really great. If you're not in the mastery program, I highly recommend that you go to masteryprogram.com and go check it out and read about it. It's our one-year program that will turn your passion for art into an actual profession in just 1 year. You'll learn all kinds of skills. You'll learn how to find your voice and develop your style. And then we also teach you how to promote and sell your artwork, build a personal brand, create a marketing strategy. It's a fantastic course. So I cannot wait to see all of your amazing oil paintings with this paint when you post it.